sweeties, today we're doing chocolate fudge crinkle biscuits. They are super quick. I only learnt the recipe last week, so bear with me as I film around. I've written notes down on a piece of paper in front of me to tell you, because they're extra things I discovered about these biscuits, which I think would be really helpful. They are milk-free, but even if you don't like dark chocolate, they are gorgeous. I don't like dark chocolate, but they're really, really delicious. And they're also nut-free, if you have a problem with that. I could also give you hints and tips on how to make them vegan, and also, what was the other one? I could also tell you how to, you cut down the sugar if you want on this, and, well, various other things, which I'll tell you in a minute. Let me get into the recipe. So, I've got the sugar and the cocoa in the bowl together. We've sifted the cocoa in because it can sometimes be a bit lumpy. Now, it says in the recipe to put the sugar, the cocoa and the oil in all in one go, but from personal experience, I will say that when I have done anything with cocoa and fluid, cocoa clumps together like crazy, and it's really hard to get the lumps out. It can make a dry pocket of cocoa, or it will just make a really doughy, gooey clump, which you then have to really squish to beat out, and then people just get these great big pockets of cocoa, and it's not very pleasant, really. So I mix it with the sugar, because the grains of sugar really just mix in with the cocoa, and they make it a bit more gritty. So when you put the oil in, it will still clump up and mix into little balls, but when you start beating in the eggs and the sugar starts to melt, it'll separate those cocoa powder bits for you, and it won't be, you won't find some great big clump of cocoa that you're trying to sort of beat the living daylights out of. So I always mix the sugar and cocoa first. Right, now I'm going to put the oil in, and they say to mix it with a spoon, but to try and minimise as much mixing as possible, I'm going to use this. Just a word of warning, I've chosen a deeper bowl because you get cocoa powder flying out, and also when I'm doing it, because it kind of crumbles like a crumble topping when you mix in the oil, it won't go into a cohesive mix first, so bits might fly out, so forgive me if it does, and I'm just going to do this really quickly, so bear with me. Okay, we did lose a few. I don't know if it would have been picked up. Oh, there's cocoa all over the place. I've just threw it on the table. We did lose some cocoa, which has popped out. But not a lot, not enough to be concerned with. It's up to you if you want to make that much of a mess. I mean, I'm quite lucky. I've got a big table here, so it won't cause too many problems. And then I've just got the wooden spoon just to mix the last bits up. There we go. So it's kind of like, it's really strange. It's like kinetic sand, actually, at this stage. Bit squishier than kinetic sand. Let me just get the teaspoon and just get this off, because I want to get every last bit of this, because when I made them, it says it makes 35 to 40, and I made about 40 of them, some slightly bigger than the others. I wanted to see how it went, and it worked perfectly both times. Sorry about this, you know me and my words by now. So you're supposed to put in 1 egg at a time. It's 2 eggs. But I've mixed them both together, and I'm just going to add half the mix. It's quite simpler that way. And then I'm going to do this just to beat it in, so bear with me again. Right, so that's the first one done. I'm just going to pop the second one in. There we are, and that's all we need from that. Forgive my table being absolutely covered with cocoa bits. But as I said, if you stir it in by hand, you won't make as much of a mess. You'll be able to be a little bit more gentle than I am. But by now, you've got a really lovely beaten in mixture, as you can see. And it's at this point, we pop in some flour. I did have a sieve, but it's gone. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't always sieve everything, but I'm sure it'll be okay. And the baking powder. Pinch of salt. That's perfect, and that is that. Now, it's going to get a little bit messy in a minute, and I shall show you why. Let me just stir this in, and it says that once you've stirred this in, if the dough, which is what you're pretty much making out of here, a biscuit dough, is too sticky and you can't really work with it very well, pop it in the fridge for an hour to chill. That's the only way. It might take a little longer. Now, I'm actually making this in the winter months, although we do have central heating on. But even though it's nice and warm in here, I didn't find the last time I needed to chill it. It really worked just as well for me. And to be honest, you need it a little bit sticky because what you do before you bake them, you coat them in icing sugar. Just a thin coat. It really doesn't work out sickly or anything like that. It just basically is for looks more than anything. Because when they cook, they crack. And what happens is you get this gorgeous juxtaposition between the icing sugar and the rich looking cocoa. And it's just stunning. But I have discovered that you can also make them a little bit more fun if you want to make these for, I say, younger palates, or, well, just you fancy a bit of fun yourself, to be honest. I quite like things that are, you know, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you can't enjoy childlike things. So, right, here we go. We've got this dough already done. Now, I'm not going to take it out of the bowl because it's not something you need to knead. It literally is like cookie dough. This is going to be very messy on my hands, though. So let me just get this prepared before I go any further. A bit of cocoa on there already. So what we need, I've got this bowl of icing sugar here. I'm going to just sprinkle that there. And I've got some hundreds and thousands. Now, I haven't done it with hundreds and thousands before, so this is an experiment that you're going to be coming on this experimental journey with me. But I think it should work, because I've baked with hundreds and thousands before in cakes, in funfetti cakes. And they bake extraordinarily well. And I discovered on some of the experiments I did with funfetti cakes that sometimes when you haven't mixed them in enough, or if they stay on the top, they actually keep their shape in the oven and they become quite crunchy. So based on that theory, I'm assuming they're going to make these biscuits quite crunchy on the outside. Now, I think it might be a bit overkill to cover them completely. So what I might do is just cover the tops in the crunchy stuff, so the bottom, so you kind of, you know, get a nice range of textures. Now, I've got a teaspoon here. It's just to help me with it, but the balls are supposed to be roughly a teaspoon, but you can have it, well, I say you can have it as large as that. I don't know if you can notice the size compared to my hands, or I would probably have it a little bit smaller and go with, well, it's about what, 50p piece? Definitely bigger than 10p. But I like them that size. You get little tiny biscuits, and you can get quite a lot. They will spread slightly. So what you would do with your regular ones is pop them, you can see this here, pop them in the icing, roll them all around like that. As you can see, there's bits of icing on it, and that's absolutely fine. And then, place it on your baking tray and leave it just like that. Now, I'm going to go through and do one more, and I'm going to show you, so it's just to get the sizing right, that's roughly it, maybe a tad more. So just give it a roll, and then give it a roll in the icing sugar, and there you have, whoopsie daisy, another little ball ready to put on the tray, just there. So I'm going to try one now with the hundreds and thousands. Check the sizing, yeah, that's right. And with the hundreds and thousands one, I think I'm going to put a little extra on there. With the hundreds and thousands one, I hope this is going to work. I'm going to do half on the icing, and then I'm going to do the other half in hundreds and thousands. So let's see. Oh, it doesn't. You have to really squish them in. So here we go. That's that one. Don't know if you can see that. So let's see how that works on there. So I'm going to just go through these. I'm not going to let you watch me do all 40 because that would totally send you to sleep. But I'm just going to race through and do them all, put them on the baking sheet, and then I'll come back to you when they're all ready to go into the oven. So I shall see you in a moment. Hi, welcome back. So I've done them all now. I've done them a lot bigger than I did last time. I actually managed to get 40 last time, so I did them half the size they are now. But I personally preferred the bigger ones because they're a bit cakier, but the little ones were just as lovely, and the day after they were absolutely fine. I do think doing them slightly bigger like this might make them last a bit longer, because apparently they last for 4 days in a biscuit tin. But yeah, it's personal preference. The little ones were still just as fine. And to be honest, when you do make them, they'll probably go quite quickly anyway. My hands are covered in cocoa now and icing sugar, and there are hundreds and thousands everywhere. I'll be finding them for weeks. So I'm going to pop this in the oven for 10 minutes. Regardless of this size or the other side, they work both fine at 10 minutes. Normally I worry that if you've got a smaller size, as I said, these, I did some this size and some smaller, and both came out absolutely fab after 10 minutes. And anyway, so I shall pop them in the oven now and see you back when they're done, and you can see what the finished results look like, and we can both find out how the hundreds and thousands one went on. So, see you in a mo. Hi there, we're back, and they're out of the oven, and I have to say, the ones with the hundreds of thousands look fantastic. Look at that. That's just brill. Isn't that just fab? I don't know where to put it now. Show you there. Look at that. As you can see, it's cracked, and that's what's supposed to happen. They're supposed to be crinkle biscuits. So you'll see how stunning it looks with the juxtaposition between the icing and the dark, rich cocoa. So these worked wonderfully. These are slightly puffier than the ones I had before. Like I said to you, the last time I did it, I did 40, and this is only, I can't remember, it was 28 or something like that. So they were slightly smaller, but the result was the same. I think last time I pushed them more into the icing sugar, like this one. This one's got a lot more icing sugar on, and I think that probably will get a more dramatic effect, because as you can see, the white really is strong against the cocoa, but they still look fab, and I know they taste delicious. So, you know, good luck with these. If you make them, let me know. If you make them in a different way with any other different things, of course, you know I love to hear about that kind of stuff. They are very delicious. Oh, I was going to say, they will be soft when you take them out of the oven. So just give them 10-15 minutes to harden up, and then, you know, they should be good to go. So if you've got a friend coming around in an hour, if you zip into the kitchen and whip these up, they'll be sitting there cooling down for a good 20 minutes before your friend turns up, then they'll be just perfect for that cup of tea. So yeah, these are great. These are easy to do. I hope you make them. I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you enjoyed watching whatever's going on. As I said, anything you do, hashtag Berkshire Housewife. I look forward to seeing you in another video soon. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.